we can get through this first turn better than we did last year.
David Reutimann jumps to the bottom of the racetrack in front of Todd Cleaver.
Oh, and they stack up behind Jack Sprague.
Most of these trucks are going to be very, very loose when we start this race here. They have to get the trucks so loose in order not to be so tight later on in the race, which means tight is when they lose the front end. They want to be really, really free so they don't get too tight, as you see Mike Skinner battle on the outside.
Bill Lester would have loved to have led the first lap, but as it looks right now, it will be Mike Skinner that will take the first lap. And so our first leader of this race, Mike Skinner, and on the inside, David Reutimann moves up to challenge for second, takes it away from Bill Lester.
See, Jack Sprague moved up a moment ago, got by Todd Cleaver, backed off getting in turn number one. Todd Cleaver remains in the fourth position.
Just like Ray was talking about the trucks getting tight later in the race, these guys, just as you were saying, are really starting these trucks really loose, and they have to pretty much tiptoe these first couple of laps just to get through there without spinning out, just because they don't want to be too tight at the end of their run. They're just so loose.
And remember, when we qualify, they are not allowed to touch the trucks again until the start of this race. They'll make a couple adjustments, but they want to qualify, have the truck a little bit loose for qualifying.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, loose is fast, and if you can hang on to it for 2 laps, you're going to be in good shape. But you know, you're allowed to make minimal adjustments. 1 rounds of wedge in both sides. You can adjust the track bar. So there's a couple of little things you can do, but you have to start very, very loose. If you're free, you're not loose enough at the beginning of a run.
Look at Todd Cleaver on the inside, goes onto the apron to try to get by Bill Lester as they work their way side by side through 1 and 2.
That's a very vulnerable position right there. When you get a truck on the inside like that, he loses air off the spoiler. Todd was able to maintain control. Didn't look like he even bobbled.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Good thing we're not at Daytona with that line.
Right now we have 3 Toyotas up front. We heard earlier Toyotas nor Fords have won a race this year. We've got Toyotas first, second, and third, and a Ford in fourth.
Those 2 manufacturers still seeking their first win in 2005. Now, Hank, you were on this track a year ago when that first lap melee took place. How does that affect your psyche going into this thing?
Well, you know, I mean, obviously when I was in the truck and racing in that race, when that happened, I realized that some of those guys got damaged and probably weren't going to outrun me. I thought maybe Carl Edwards wouldn't, but he came back and won the race.
Battle for 17th. Terry Cook on the outside, Rick Crawford on the inside. Side-by-side racing continuing around this 1.5-mile tri-oval.
Rick Crawford in 2002 had the dominant truck, led over 120 laps. Something came off the racetrack and knocked the line off the rear, and he lost a gear with just a couple laps to go. One of the big heartbreaks of his career, but always runs well at this racetrack.
Tracy Hines and Matt Crafton just behind them. It's 3 wide as they go down the backstretch.
Some of that wide straightaway stuff we were talking about at the beginning of the race.
Rick Crawford making the move on the outside, trying to hold off Tracy Hines. What's going on with him, Ray?
Well, Rick, I checked with Rick Crawford because I was a little bit surprised they started all the way back in 16th because he has been so good at this racetrack. But he told me that they've got a setup almost exactly the same as Todd Cleaver's in that number 50 Ford. He said, I just can't quite figure out why our truck doesn't respond as well as Cleaver's. He said, but I think it may have something to do with the rear end gear. Of course, they ran around a 400 rear end gear here last year, and then they ran a 389 this weekend. So not a big difference, but Rick says he doesn't have as many RPMs as he used to have, and he thinks he's driving the track the way he used to instead of the way he should. I said, why would Cleaver be good? He said, well, he's a rookie. He doesn't know any better.
And sometimes that's very true. Sometimes, you know, you can learn the wrong way to do things, and things change here. The setups on these trucks have really changed over the last year and a half. They used to run relatively stiff springs in the front and relatively soft springs in the rear. Now they're just the opposite, as we see Dennis Setzer move to the inside of Robert Huffman. Now, Hank, they have very, very light, soft springs in the front and giant springs in the rear.
Well, that's exactly right. And tires are always changing, so things always change, and you have to be able to adapt to those changes.
Dennis Setzer, Robert Huffman side by side. Setzer takes away the spot. He started this race in 12th position. Dennis Setzer now running in 12th. Pulling David Reutimann around this 1.5-mile track. two Toyotas looking very dominant at the beginning of this race. We've seen that before.
They've opened up a couple of seconds on our third place truck of Bill Lester. Got a lot of big gaggle of trucks right there running together. Looks like, is that John Andretti, the 15? That's John Andretti making his first career Craftsman Truck Series start. Back right of your screen in the 15 truck, Billy Ballou's truck. John giving that truck a good ride, running with some awfully good trucks. Johnny Benson always runs well. They're being shown right now in the 22nd, 23rd position, but look for both of those guys to move towards the front.
Well, and I want to say that I'd like to see some of this field move towards the front, because a week ago we saw a dominant performance by Dennis Setzer. He almost lapped the entire field.
Well, I got on to him about that. I said, hey, don't stink up our shows like you did last week, and he apologized and said he would not do it again. So
I'm sure he wouldn't.
I think we're okay with that.
If he got the chance, I bet he would.
Absolutely, in a heartbeat. Ricky Craven, the 99 truck, as Ray touched on it earlier, big changes in the Roush organization. They actually swapped crew chiefs this week. John Monson, who was crew chief for Todd Cleaver, is now Ricky Craven's crew chief. And Mike Beam, who was Ricky Craven's crew chief, is now Todd Cleaver's crew chief. So Jack Roush has had a lot of success doing that before, as you see Ricky Craven's last 3 races. After starting out the year with 7 top 10s in the first 8 races, he's had 3 races outside the top 10. Wendy?
Ricky Craven started this race in 31st, and he's moved up to 23rd, but they weren't surprised on their qualifying run. They were definitely too loose in qualifying, crew chief John Munson told me, but they did find out during that practice session, this is a brand new truck, and they had a little bit of problem with the shock mount. He called it a little bit of a gremlin in that brand new truck. So they spent about 20 minutes during practice fixing that shock mount, which caused them to not be able to get a qualifying run in during practice.
His teammate up front, that's Todd Cleaver, battling for 3rd position with Bill Lester. Again, Lester started on the pole in this race. Todd Cleaver started in 3rd position. He's dropped back to 4th. The man on the move that moved up has been David Rudeman in that number 17.
But Todd Cleaver is very, very good on these fast racetracks. Is with such relative inexperience, he went to California, our 2nd race of the season, with a top 5 run, finished in 4th. So he knows how to get around these high-speed racetracks.
Either that or what Rick Crawford was saying, he either just doesn't know because he hasn't hit the wall yet, and he's just going to drive as hard as he possibly can.
Well, Todd Cleaver knows a little bit about hitting walls and getting upside down. He got upside down our first race of the season, actually in an ARCA car. But with more on Todd Cleaver, Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, I talked to him right before we went on the air, and I said, what do you think of this crew chief swap? He said, well, Ricky Craven actually has a big advantage because he's worked with both Mike Beam and John Monson already in his career. So he said he felt like this would be a good chance to at least give it a good try. Having worked with John in the first 11 races of the year, and now a chance to work with Mike Beam, he said he'll be able to get a feel for whether one of those guys understands his driving ability better or not. He said Ricky's already had that advantage of working with both of them.
David Rudeman trying to hold on to the 2nd spot. Rudeman has a little sign on the inside of his dash. Team owner Darrell Waltrip made sure to tell he and Robert Huffman, don't beat yourself, meaning don't make mistakes that would take you out of contention for the win. Wendy, what's going on with David?
Although David Rudeman did not have that great of a weekend in Milwaukee last weekend, the week before that in Michigan, he had a top 10. They brought back the same exact truck that they had in Michigan 2 weeks ago. And David told me today it's one of the best trucks he feels he's ever had. And he definitely feels like he has another good shot at a strong finish today.
Strong finish. He's got a great start going if he can hang on to Mike Skinner. Mike Skinner, again, a dominating performance. We saw him almost dominate Texas.
That's right. David Rudeman just gained 0.4 of a second that lap on Mike Skinner. He's closed up to within a second. He was about almost a second and a half behind. These guys are running around there. You see Todd Cleaver finally gets that 3rd position from Bill Lester. The track record here was a 32:40 something in a lap's time. As Hank mentioned earlier, 31 trucks beat the track record. Well, we're over 20 laps into this race, and they're within 2 or 3 tenths the fastest trucks of what the old track record was. An incredible pace, and I think a lot of it has to do, Hank, with Goodyear bringing a little bit softer tire this year.
That's exactly right. This tire's been a little bit faster, and it seems like it lasts longer. It's the best of both worlds.
Good battle for the 15th position. That's Ted Musgrave, the 1 truck. He holds 15th. You see Terry Cook drives in, going to drive underneath him.
Look at how hard Terry Cook comes up on the inside of Ted Musgrave. A great pass. He makes it stick, and he'll take away that position.
And he drove it down in that corner.
There's Clay Rogers in that 65 truck. He has really given that truck a good ride. He's been in it 2 or 3 times. He had a top 10 finish, I think, back in Texas. He finished 8th. He's really given that truck a good time. Regan Smith is the full-time driver, but he ran the Busch race last night at Daytona. That's why Clay is in this truck, doing a great job.
Looks like Ted must be fighting a little bit of a handling issue. He's just falling back a little bit there, but I don't know if he's gotten tightened enough yet. A lot of these guys will start so loose it takes a long time for them to get tightened up.
You know, I was talking to Bobby Hamilton, whose truck was extremely loose qualifying, and his people told me, there you see Bobby right there, he's way back right now. He's being shown in the 29th position, battling with the 59 of Robert Presley, but his note said at the beginning of this race that his truck was so loose that he couldn't even drive it last year. Ended up finishing 2nd. Ray, what's going on with Bobby?
Well, Phil, you hit it right on the head. That's exactly where he's at the start of today's race, too. It's so loose he can't even drive it. He said, coming off the corner, this thing is the worst I've ever had. That's what he said on the radio. So they're going to have to adjust on that thing for sure. But you're right. We've always seen it happen. As they work on it after a couple of pit stops, Hamilton heads right to the front. But right now, his truck is awful.
See Brendan Gaughan, the 77 truck. He's no stranger to running the outside groove, but Brad Keselowski, the 29, is going to make his pass on him. Going to try to bring Bobby Hamilton with him. A lot of guys are really struggling right now because, again, this is the first time that we've had an impound here, Hank. Last year, you had a little bit of practice. We're able to work on the trucks a little bit, but this is the first impound here in Kansas. All the races this year in the Truck Series are going to be an impound situation where there'll be minimal adjustments, as you mentioned earlier, after qualifying. But right now, a lot of guys are really struggling because Bobby Hamilton, we see him right there running in the 27th position. He's 29 seconds behind the leader. He's just 4 seconds away from being lapped.
Well, you talk about change earlier, just how much change these guys have to be able to adapt to. A couple of years ago, he would be dominating on a track like this. The tires change, the evolution of the springs change, and they're trying to get a hold on it right now.
Riding along with David Rudiman in that NTN Bearings number 17. Wendy, how's he feeling out there?
Well, he's about to get really hot by the end of this race. We know how high the temperatures are in Kansas City on these summer weekends. Unfortunately for David Rudiman, he has no power steering. So it's going to be a little bit of a long day for David Rudiman. His crew chief, Jason Overstreet, just reminded him to keep his cool box running and try to stay as cool as possible in a very hot truck. Obviously, he's going to work that steering wheel a little bit harder with no power steering.
Tough sawing for David Rudiman. The Zephyrhills, Florida native knows how to, I guess, deal with the heat as the heat rises on this Kansas Speedway. It's Mike Skinner out in front of David Rudiman.
Our second truck of David Rudiman is in the pits for 4 tires. No adjustment. Remember, folks, he has no power steering, so he's requested.
Sideways through 3 and 4.
What a close moment for David Rudiman. She was on the inside of David Rudiman. Close call for Ty Bodine getting by on the inside, but we talked a little while ago when we saw side-by-side battle. You see another look. She's already sideways, but watch the yellow and black truck come by on the inside after Kelly makes her way down to the apron. Watch this right here. What a close call for the 30 of Ty Bodine, but when you have a truck on the inside, he loses air. He or she, in this case, loses air off the spoiler, and that gets him very loose. That's exactly what happened to Kelly Sutton.
Right along with Todd Cleaver. Just in front of him.
That's a tough situation. You really want to hold your brakes when you're going to the outside wall like that because you know you're going to come back down, and that was very close.
They almost turned themselves, but without power steering, it's going to take a lot of physical effort.
Mike Skinner on the outside continues to lead at Kansas. Johnny Chapman came in for a pit stop, and so he relinquished the top spot to Mike Skinner. That's Brendan Gaughan on the inside. And the 77 being shown 1 lap down. He wanted to stay in front of Mike Skinner to be on the lead lap, but if a caution does come out, he'll be the first one to get the free pass.
He wants to remain in that spot ahead of all the other lap down trucks, but he's going to make way, move to the outside, allow Todd Cleaver, who's now running in 3rd position, to get by him on the inside.
Currently 4th is Jack Sprague. 5th is Clay Rogers in the number 65. A great run for that team.
Look at Terry Cook go by on the apron there. A big wad of trucks. He had a lap truck of Justin Allgaier, the 63. He didn't have any room. He went right to the flat of the racetrack.
It's a good thing it's paved down there because those guys are using it.
Battle go for the lead. That's David Rudiman takes away the top spot from Mike Skinner as they go down the backstretch.
You know, what really surprises me is they didn't take the time with Darrell Waltrip Motorsports to look under the hood to see if there was something they could fix on their power steering. They didn't want to give up the track position. They would probably say, hey, I can hang on to this thing. You keep me up front, I'll keep it there.
167 laps. It will be a workout for him. Wendy?
That's exactly right, Phil. David Rudiman and Jason Overstreet discussed this on the radio when the caution came out, and David was adamant. He said, please don't go under the hood and change this. I want to keep this track position. I can run this race just like it is. So Jason Overstreet just reminded him, buddy, take your time, shake out your arms under cautions, make sure you stay hydrated. It's going to be a long day for David.
He just shook out the back end there. He got really loose. Mike Skinner drove right up behind him, took a little air off his rear spoiler, a big-time wiggle. And if he's riding around here, Hank, without any problems, you know, he's going to be okay without power steering. But if his truck gets sideways, it's going to be hard for him to turn back to the right.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for him to save that with no power steering. I don't know how he's going to be able to do that all day.
Look at this giant group of trucks right here. See, there's a 63 Justin Allgaier. This was moments ago here. This is when we saw Terry Cook drive to the apron of the racetrack to get by him. See him going to corner 3 wide here. Watch this as they come up the corner. There's the lap truck of Kelly Sutton. Watch the yellow hooded truck. See, he's right behind the 63. He said, hey, he's holding me up. I'm passing on the inside.
Matt Crafton was in that pack, but he was speeding on pit road, and so had to go to the back of the longest line.
These fellows have fresh tires right now. They're running lap times equal to the old track record, which is incredible, the pace. But we've seen track records fall week after week in this series.
Dover, I believe, was the start of the breaking of the track records, and it's continued ever since. So if that continues,
even Lowe's Motor Speedway the week before Dover, we saw a bunch of trucks break the track record. It was what, about 3 miles an hour, 3.5 miles an hour, and then we went to Dover and it was 5.5 miles an hour. What was it here? 7 miles an hour?
Over 7 miles an hour faster for the track record
That
today.
says a lot for the Goodyear tires. I mean, a change like that to pick those trucks up that much.
There's the 30 of Todd Bodine. Ron Hornaday takes a look to the inside. Look at him right up next to the back of that truck.
Nose to tail, they go by David Rudiman. Rudiman moving backwards now. We talked about how strong he was earlier. Now he has fallen back after that little wiggle that he had as Mike Skinner got up behind him. Skinner still out in front of this pack.
He may have been a little bit on the tight side, and they made an adjustment. Now that adjustment will probably work, but it may not work early on. He must have to burn off some fuel, get the air pressure built up in his tires before that change will take effect and make his truck better.
He's going to have his hands full with no power steering all day like that.
Toyota's running nose to tail. David Rudiman in front of Bill Lester. Those two are running 6th and 7th currently. Out in front, it's Mike Skinner ahead of Todd Cleaver, Jack Sprague, Todd Bodine, and Ron Hornaday. Todd Cleaver, a rookie in this series, trying to get out front. The 17 of David Rudiman was out front, but he had a handful a little while ago.
He had what you call a moment.
Yeah.
He had a moment. We were watching him. He got a little bit loose right behind Mike Skinner. Watch this now. Watch Mike Skinner pull right up beside him. You see him get sideways and wiggle, and that he has to get out of the throttle, and that just kills his momentum. Then you see Mike Skinner, Todd Cleaver, and Jack Sprague all drive by him. Now let's watch on board.
When you get out of the gas in one of these trucks, like you see him do right here, just had to back squeeze out of the gas, man, it lets all the guys behind you just run you down and go by you, and you're sitting there, you can't do anything about it. It makes you so frustrated.
Watch this view, Hank. Watch up the blue truck out front. Watch that now. You're going to see him. You see him get sideways and wiggle, then he had to get on the throttle. Now the train just drives by, and David Rudiman's already fallen back to the 10th position.
The perspective is difficult because we're looking at this, watching it. They're going 170 miles an hour, and the back end comes out.
We're sitting still.
The 17 truck of David Rudiman is super loose in the center. He said it's nothing but loose conditions on his truck, and I can't even imagine how difficult that is for David Rudiman with no power steering in his truck. Bill and Hank, I'm sure you've experienced that at one point, especially under these hot conditions at Kansas.
And what really compounds that is the fact that he doesn't have the power steering, because he's not able to crank that truck back to the right to catch it as easily as he would if he had power steering. But a great battle for the lead. Todd Cleaver, what a terrific job he's doing. Obviously, he won Roush has raced for the ride last year, and he won the opportunity over a bunch of applicants to get in this truck. He's had a great season so far. They had a big change this week, swapped crew chiefs, and right now it looks like it's really working for Todd Cleaver.
He's driving his heart out. You can see him driving way down in the corner. He is dying to get the lead. He is giving that thing a whale of a ride.
We've seen a lot of different truck lines around the track, probably because of loose or tight conditions. Ray, what have they been talking about?
Well, prior to our last pit stop, Rick, just about everybody was very, very tight. I told you earlier that Bobby Hamilton was extremely loose, but other than that, on the radio, it's been tight, tight, tight. Hornaday had a real bad tight situation. So did Bill Lester. So did Brandon Witt. So did Steve Park. So did Jack Sprague. So all of those guys made adjustments. Some of them pulled spring rubbers. All of them made air pressure and some wedge adjustments down here to try to loosen up the trucks. Well, now, right now on the radio, as I continue to scan these guys, a number of them are saying maybe we went just a little bit too far. Now our trucks are slightly loose coming off. Wendy?
I have the same conditions going on this end of pit road, Ray. Todd Bodine in the 30, he sits fourth. When they did come in on lap 30, they tightened him up with that track bar adjustment when they came in on that pit stop, but he also is complaining he is still too loose at this point. They need to make some more adjustments the next stop.
Well, the truck must be running pretty well right now because he just took third away from Jack Sprague. Todd Bodine on the move toward the front. Mike Skinner's out in front of young Todd Cleaver in that number 50. Oh, we've got a problem. Tracy Hines getting spun around, coming out of turn number 2. He comes to the infield grass, is able to keep the truck going, gets it back out onto the apron, but our second caution of the day has come out, and Tracy Hines.
Truck. Same situation as Kelly Sutton. Lost air off the rear spoiler, lost the back end of the truck. Fortunately made no contact with the wall or another vehicle. There's another look. That's the tail end of it there. He stays in the throttle to keep that truck from backing up into the outside wall.
Awesome
That's
job.
what's important, isn't it?
Awesome job. He did a great job. He knew he had lost it. He stayed in the gas. He did a great job. I think he put it in four-wheel drive when he got down there.
So Todd Bodine playing a little bit of poker as well. They had been talking on the radio that they were going to make a stop, but then stayed out because the rest of the field, more or less in front of them, stayed out.
Well, a few of these guys pitted and came in and got gas. Obviously, we saw the 17. There was a few other guys, but that puts them in a different sequence. If we get a long green flag run right here, man, that's really going to work out and play in their favor. And that we've seen that happen here before.
They've got 23 extra laps of fuel right now, so they could really put the lead trucks that did not pit into a bad position if they have to pit under green, and then the caution comes out before these other trucks that pitted just now came in. We could find a lot of good trucks a lap down.
Great side-by-side racing. Deborah Renshaw on the outside in the number 8. A week ago, we talked about Deborah Renshaw having a problem with her foot. She was involved in a little bit of an accident in Milwaukee, in which the care center was checked out and then was able to get back into that number 8 and race in Milwaukee.
Rick Crawford, one of the trucks that pitted on that most recent caution flag. See Ted Musgrave works his way by Deborah Renshaw. There's the 59, the Edie's Ice Cream Dodge of Robert Presley.
Edie's Ice Cream, we love that.
Yeah.
Especially on a warm day in Kansas City.
We'll be all hanging out at their trailer after the race, looking for some free samples.
There's a 60 truck of Chad Chapman. Chad drove the 30 truck for the most of this year that Todd Bodine is now driving. They had a switch before the Milwaukee race. Todd got out of the 66 truck, which actually closed down, and jumped back in the 30 truck that he won 2 races in last year. Chad Chapman was sitting around, wasn't sure he was going to be racing, and Tony Furr got together with Jeff Weiler, took the remnants of the 66 team, started a brand new team here, number 60, and here they are racing.
So Chad Chapman keeps a job. This is a battle for 4th. That's Ron Hornaday just in front of Jack Sprague. 2 Chevys running nose to tail.
We've never seen those guys running nose to tail in the truck series before, have we?
Very familiar sight. And then side-by-side racing. That's Steve Park on the inside of Bill Lester. And now this is where it gets a little scary when you get somebody on the front. A battle for the lead. That's Todd Bodine taking away the spot from Mike Skinner. And so Todd Bodine gets the top spot.
And he's picking up where he left off last year in that truck. Those guys were so good last year. And I said something earlier about those guys needing to re-gel, I guess, but looks like they've got it figured out in the front of it.
They've got it going right now, looks like they sure do. Steve Park going to try to make the pass on Bill Lester. That's the 6th position right there. Remember, this is a vault. You don't want to get side by side on the inside, lose air off that spoiler. We see Bill move up the racetrack, give him a little extra room. If he wanted to pull down right beside a Steve Park, that would really take more air off the rear spoiler and could cause a bad situation for both of them. But good heads-up move by Bill Lester.
That's right.
Steve Park takes away the number 6 spot from Bill Lester. Todd Bodine back out in front. The last time Todd Bodine won, it was a 1.5-mile track, and it was Texas a year ago. Can Toyota find the winner's circle in 05?
I said the race, you don't want to miss that race on Fox. Well, Fox's half of the season actually ended last week, so they're done for the year. That race will be on NBC tonight.
That's right. Your brother might have something to do with that.
He will. He will. Todd Cleaver's taking over the second position from Mike Skinner. He's battling that, trying to break up that Toyota domination we were seeing so far. We've got a Ford now running second.
Well, and the other domination we've talked about is the Chevrolet Dodge domination, because Chevrolet and Dodge have won both races, and now we've got slow truck on the track. Justin Allgaier in the 63.
He's obviously made some contact with somebody with the front of that truck. Caution flag is out.
Now, why is he running on the track, guys? I mean, if you've got problems like that, you don't want to have fluid or anything coming out. So
to his defense, man, you never really know. I mean, you can see his tires rubbing up against
right in the middle, same situation. He was right in the middle of a couple trucks. He lost some air off the rear spoiler, and around he went. He made some contact, I think, maybe with the 29 of Brad Keselowski, which was the truck on the inside of him.
Yeah, actually, Brad was coming out. It looked like almost off pit road. And that's when Justin Allgaier went up. It looked like to maybe avoid Brad.
Looked like he was almost all 4 tires on the apron.
Yeah, Brad Keselowski caution to get in front of the race.
Well, it just depends how much damage you have to give up.
That's true. Carl Edwards won the race last year after having a problem in the first lap. Tracy Hines now in front, but I'm guessing that this track position move is not going to pay off very well once everyone with tires and fuel come by.
Here goes Todd Bodine. He's going to drive by Tracy on the outside. There's a 65, but how about that? Clay Rogers going for the lead here in the Truck Series.
On the inside, Todd Bodine and Clay Rogers. Clay Rogers in the blue number 65 on the inside. Todd Bodine in the 30 on the outside. And here comes Ron Hornaday.
That was a good move by Clay Rogers. The 30 truck, it just has an awesome hot rod right now.
How about that orange truck on the inside? That's John Andretti. We talked about him. He was up in the booth with us not that long ago. Here he is in his first ever Craftsman Truck Series start, and he's driven Billy Ballou's number 15 up into the top 5.
There's 2 Fords running side by side. Terry Cook and Todd Cleaver. Now Cleaver will pull in front of Terry Cook. They set their sights on the 22 of Bill Lester.
Talked to John just before the race, and he said that truck really had a fast steering box. That means you don't have to turn the truck very far, because you see him go for the 4th position on Ricky Craven. I didn't really like it, so we put another steering box on for qualifying, and it turned out to be a bad steering box, so they end up putting the quick one back on. He said, I'm going to have to get used to it, and I think he has.
Well, and as you mentioned, they went to the back because of that change. And as a driver, I mean, isn't that a little bit scary, getting into a truck that you haven't had that steering box in there? I mean, you just make a quick change and you think, well, I hope it turns right.
You'd rather have that, but see, he put the steering box on that they had taken off originally, the one that was too quick. Just to put a strange steering box on a truck would not be something you would want to do. So he put even though it was too fast, he didn't really like it. He knew what he had. He put it back on and said, I'll get used to it.
These trucks are so different than cars. You know, this is his first truck race. He's raced the cars here, but you can really drive way down in the corner with these trucks, and he's doing a great job, because it is something that you do have to adapt to that is a lot different than the cars. It takes a little bit to get that feel. He started in the back. He's done a great job passing all these trucks getting to the front. I would think that he's probably liking that steering box right now.
And that team has had a lot of success. Billy Ballou's number 15 has had some great success this year with Kyle Busch as the driver. Wendy?
John Andretti's been pretty happy with this truck as he sits in the 3rd spot. The last caution on lap 66, they did come in, take 4 tires, but no more adjustments this time around for the 15 truck, because the last time they came in on lap 30, they took 4 rounds out of that truck to tighten him up, so he had super loose conditions at the beginning of the race.
Something's wrong with Mike Skinner. You see how slow he is. You see all the trucks making their way by him. Steve Park just blasted by him a few moments ago. I'm not sure if he got out of shape, lost his momentum. Let's keep an eye on it. Let's see if we can look back at maybe what happened to Mike Skinner, what caused him to lose his momentum. See him, he's down on the inside of Chad Jeff and gets very, very loose. What a great save. That's why Steve Park was able to drive by him and look like 30 miles an hour faster. Now he's trying to get his momentum back. Even though he jumps back in the throttle, he slowed down probably 20 miles an hour, and that's why all those trucks went by him.
That was dirt track racing on a Friday or Saturday night right there. He went through that corner, almost halfway through that corner sideways.
Yeah, he looked good. Scott Bloomquist would be proud of that move. He was up on the cushion setting it up.
Jimmy Spencer trying to take 7th away from Terry Cook. They're side by side, Dodge and Ford battling it out.
Good to see Jimmy Spencer having another good run. He started off the year so great, had a good second place finish at Daytona, was up in the top 2 or 3 in points. The last 6 races, Jimmy has not finished in the top 10. It's time for him to get that Ultra Wheel Team ASC Dodge back up front, and he's done that now. Got a great run going so far up into the top 10.
He's got the pork producers on the side of that truck as well, trying to propel him toward the front. Side by side racing. A couple rookies here. Todd Cleaver on the inside of Clay Rogers.
That's a battle for the 5th position right there. Both these young drivers have a great run going.
Clay doesn't mind going to the outside or the inside. We've seen him on both sides. He just, wherever he finds a hole, he's going to go for it. Didn't look like it paid off for him on the outside right there. But at least he was going for it, you know.
Todd Cleaver's had such a great run this entire race. He's now still in the top 5, been up in the top 5 since the drop of the green flag. You see Jimmy Spencer moves in on the number 65 of Clay Rogers, trying to get the 6th position from him.
So Todd Bodine out in front of the field. Ron Hornaday, John Andretti, new to the series, running 3rd. Bill Lester is 4th, and Todd Cleaver rounds out our top 5. Bill Lester, Todd Cleaver, and John Andretti. Side-by-side battle for 10th place. Dennis Setzer and David Rudiman. We've seen David Rudiman back up, battling for a 10th place spot. Wendy?
David Rudiman is back in good shape here on Kansas today. They came in under that caution numerous times and fixed the power steering for David Rudiman. They replaced the reservoir, so they are now creeping back into the top 10.
Todd Cleaver was able to make his way by John Andretti to take over the 4th position. Now he's going to set his sights on the 3rd place truck of Bill Lester. Todd had the fastest lap that lap around this racetrack at a 32.67, just 0.2 of a second slower than the track record prior to this year. You see Dennis Setzer battling with the 17 truck of David Rudiman. That's a great battle. There's Terry Cook. He's in 9th right now. That's a battle for 10th right there. Dennis Setzer on your right, the red truck, and the 17 of David Rudiman.
You can see David trying to set him up, get in the corner, just get his nose under him, but not get all the way side by side, right in the center of the corner where he can power up beside him, coming off the corner, make the pass on the exit instead of being side by side in the center of the corner.
Terry Cook had a moment right there. He's going to be split by Dennis Setzer and David Rudiman.
Terry Cook in that Power Stroke diesel by International. This is actually the 5th anniversary of that sponsorship. They started here 5 years ago at the Kansas Speedway in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and so they're hopefully celebrating that. They'd love to celebrate a win for not only the sponsor and Terry Cook, but also Ford, who's still looking for that first win in 05.
Terry Cook's got a great run going. You see Dennis Setzer able to get by the 65 of Clay Rogers. He takes over the 8th position. Now David Rudiman looks to the inside. There's Matt Crafton. We haven't talked a great deal about him. He's right behind this battle. You see Terry Cook's last 3 races, and even before that, he had a couple top 5s at Charlotte and Dover. So he's really turned that team around. Rick Gay is crew chief. Done a great job with Terry Cook in that number 10 truck.
Well, you saw him get loose and lose those positions, and that's really, you know, we've talked about it a lot. It's hard to exactly explain. If you let out of the gas on these trucks, it is just so hard to get your momentum back, just because the big hole in the air that these guys are pushing with the windshields and the big spoilers, it's just tough to keep that momentum going if you have to crack the gas.
These trucks run about 180 top speed as they enter the corner, and they may slow down to about 165 or something like that. If you have to get out of the throttle like Terry Cook did, and some of the Mike Skinner we saw earlier, and you lose 5 or 10 miles an hour, they're still running 165 miles an hour around you, and they just drive on by.
He's got a good truck. He'll stay patient. He can get right back by those guys.
Still side-by-side racing. We see Ricky Craven sticking the nose of the Super Chips number 99 Ford up there. And we talked earlier about Roush's dominance on this track the past 2 years. John Wood won back in 2003. Carl Edwards wins in 2004 on this track. And now they were trying to pass the baton off to a Todd Cleaver or Ricky Craven and see if they can continue that dominance for Roush Racing.
You remember when John Wood won 2 years ago, who finished second that race?
Carl Edwards.
Carl Edwards. They had a 1-2 finish that day.
Side-by-side racing, Rick Crawford and Steve Park, and it looks like Steve Park's going to move to the outside and make that pass. Now, I've seen a lot of trucks running side-by-side where the outside truck has actually been able to hold their position.
They really have. As Hank mentioned at the very top of the show, a multi-groove racetrack. You have more than one groove here, and that's what you love to see on a NASCAR Speedways, where you can race side-by-side and not have to worry about getting down to the bottom of the racetrack.
Well, it lets you build your RPMs up. You can keep your RPM band up by staying up there, and plus, you don't have to worry about getting loose when you're on the inside. You know, if you're on the outside, you're going to be stable, and the guy on the inside is going to be loose.
Dennis Setzer, currently our points leader, out in front of David Rudiman. This is 8th and 9th position. Ray letting us know just past 22 laps.
He's working his way back up there through all his adversity of the day.
It's great to see David Rudiman able to get that truck fixed, or his crew actually get that truck fixed, get his power steering back. He gave up a lot of track position in order to do that, but he's already worked his way well back up into the top 10.
And actually, Ray was talking about the 50 of Todd Cleaver trying to get by the 22. Ray, what's going on with Todd?
Well, Cleaver just saying on the radio things tightening up on him a little bit right now, Rick, and so they want to make air pressure adjustments for him. And but he was able to move ahead there with Bill Lester. Those guys have been having a pretty good race today. And, you know, I talked to both of those drivers after qualifying when they came to the media center, and they attributed the fact that they're running so well partly to the fact that they got an extra set of tires this weekend. Realize that we always have 4 sets of tires for the whole week. Well, every team had a chance to use another set of tires during practice and then turn those back into Goodyear, and it didn't account against your allotment. And of course, Phil and Hank can add to what the value to this whole thing is, but Cleaver believes that was a big part of why he's run so well here this weekend is the extra practice time.
As Ray mentioned, Todd Cleaver was able to get by Bill Lester, but what we saw earlier this year, when you had a situation where you may need an extra set of tires, people would come to the racetrack and test and then not practice that much. So they would save all 4 sets of their tires for the race, where most of the other fellows would use up a set of tires in practice, and that would only leave them with 3. So NASCAR said, hey, we've got 250 miles here, so this is a relatively long race for the truck series. Let's give them an extra set of tires. It's going to be fair for everybody. When practice is over, as Ray mentioned, they have to turn them back in, and everyone will have 4 sets of tires for the race. So I think it's a heads-up move by Wayne Auden and his bunch to level a playing field.
Todd Bodine out in front. He's led 34 laps at Kansas. Skinner still the most laps led at 57, but
watch this area of the truck right here. You're going to see they have something called a Romeo window. It goes between the back glass and that bar. You're going to see that thing fly out of that truck right there. Todd Bodine lands on the racetrack. I'm not sure if it slid up to the outside wall or maybe made its way down to the apron of the racetrack. But that is very critical to these trucks as far as downforce goes. I've been watching his lap times. He's still been able to maintain a very, very quick pace, but I'm not sure what the long-term ramifications of that, him losing that are. What are they, Wendy, do you know?
Well, I was just talking to Mike Hillman Jr., their crew chief, and they weren't even sure that it had popped out because they never saw it on the track, but he feels like the truck is not going to have any effect because of that.
He certainly has kept up his speed. He's been running right at, if not the fastest truck on the racetrack since that happened. You see Mike Skinner racing with Ricky Craven, the 99 truck. That's a battle for the 14th position.
Working his way back after that penalty of speeding on pit road. So he must have a good truck to be able to pass those guys in dirty air. He's been fast in clean air. Looks like he's fast in traffic as well.
Steve Park is right in front of Mike Skinner in the 13th position. Remember, he got nabbed for speeding on pit road too. It's awfully difficult to overcome those pit road penalties. It's a little bit easier because they have a lot of time left in this race. The later it happens, the less time obviously that you have, and it's harder to overcome.
The easiest place to pass is on pit road.
That's exactly right.
side by side coming through the tri-oval. That's Ted Musgrave on the outside. We haven't talked a lot about Ted Musgrave this race.
Right behind the 65 truck of Clay Rogers. He's on the outside of the 13 of Tracy Hines. Remember, Tracy stayed out on this most recent caution flag. He's been able to maintain a top 20 position, but he's being hampered a little bit by the fact that the other drivers have fresher tires than he does.
His tires have got to be worn. It's tough because you get tight. The longer you run, the tighter you get. And in that traffic, he has got to be tight. And it just brings more trucks behind you and just keeps making you tighter.
And you just lose a little bit overall grip. Your truck, as you mentioned, you could get a little bit tighter, but you will lose a little bit overall grip. That means front and rear. So he will not. And the longer you go, the more it's going to show up. So right now, again, obviously he was leading this race on the restart. He's back to the 18th position right now, and he will continue to lose some positions. I would think you see Rick Crawford make his way by the 65 of Clay Rogers. He's going to be just a bit of a victim. Now, what he wants is a caution flag fairly soon so he can get back in sync with these leaders. Remember, most of the leaders have already used 3 sets of tires of the 4 they had ready, so they're only going to be able to put probably 1 more set of tires on these trucks. So, and they had to run about 100 laps from the time that they put the last set on, so they have to really want to split this thing to about 50 laps and 50 laps in order to maximize their tires.
Saw Robert Huffman in the background there. We've seen a lot of guys get sideways. He was pretty sideways up out in the cushion as well as Mike Skinner earlier, so a lot of these guys getting loose here.
3 wide. Man in the middle, Chad Chaffin in that 60.
Yeah, I believe there's a spot open between Johnny Benson and Clay Rogers. I think I'll take that.
That was a power move.
And so out in front of this field, the 30 of Todd Bodine continues to set the pace. Although the question is, will that side window that came off the back of the truck, will that affect the handling of the number 30 truck? His crew's taking a look at maybe putting back that window when he gets back down pit road.
Getting ready to put, and has put, some great trucks a lap down. Robert Huffman's already gone down a lap. Chad Chaffin is next on his hit parade. Then Johnny Benson right in front of Chad Chaffin. He's got some Ted Musgrave, Bobby Hamilton within 2 or 3 seconds of going a lap down.
Bobby Hamilton currently second in the points, about to go a lap down to Todd Bodine.
Todd's gotten in a lot of traffic there. It's let Hornaday catch him a little bit, close the gap, what little bit of the large gap that he has, but looks like he's going to get by these guys and have some more clean racetrack.
And early on, we heard from down on pit road, Bobby Hamilton was so loose he could hardly drive that truck. Obviously, they have not fixed it to the point where Bobby's comfortable.
No, without a doubt. You're not going to see Bobby Hamilton fall back as far as he has. He rides around the back at times, but he's not going to be in danger of losing the lap if he's able to do something about it. But great battle right there. There's Jimmy Spencer, the 7th place truck. David Ruderman has run him down, goes down for the 7th position. He's really made a great comeback from his power steering problems earlier.
And they were on pit road probably 6 or 7 times trying to fix that power steering, and so they were always restarting at the back of the field every time we had a restart so far after 3 cautions. And we see Bobby Hamilton running around toward the back of the pack, which is very unfamiliar to be in a position where he's almost ready to be lapped.
So you see him right now currently being shown in the 18th position. He's going to try to make his way by the 10 of Terry Cook. Terry's in the 17th position. There's Tracy Hines, and the black hooded truck right behind him, that's our leader, Todd Bodine, coming to put these trucks a lap down.
Todd's just setting a blistering pace. I mean, he's 2 or 3 tenths a lap faster than anyone else out there.
He's lapping some of these great trucks and still maintaining a 3-second lead over Ron Hornaday. Todd Cleaver just inside of 4 seconds behind our leader, Todd Bodine.
Now, why are we seeing dominance? We saw Dennis Setzer dominate a week ago. Now we're seeing Todd Bodine with a very dominant truck, it seems like. How can one truck be that much better than the field?
Well, today there was a lot of ifs. I mean, the impound, obviously they didn't have the opportunity to run a happy hour and be able to adjust on those trucks. So these trucks always get tighter here. You expect a lot of temperature. You expect these trucks to get really tight. Some of these guys make either don't adjust enough or over adjust. We talked about Todd Bodine, who had to make the adjustment during the race because he was too free. Looks like they've made the right calls, and it's just gotten him up front in the clean air, and that is so important on these 1.5-mile racetracks.
There's our second place. That's our battle for second right now. Todd Cleaver closed right up behind Ron Hornaday. That's a battle for the 2nd position.
Lap truck.
Oh, trouble right in front of him, right in front of him.
Tracy Hines gets spun around again, almost in the exact same position he did last time. He gets it straight back out, keeps going. The caution flag will fly. So it is our 4th caution of the day. Tracy Hines has brought 2 of them out.
And Bobby Hamilton remains on the inside of Terry Cook, just like he was earlier, on the inside of another truck. Lost air off the spoiler. You see him. Got to hold the brakes there, Tracy. Almost slid right up into Ron Hornaday, who was our second place truck, but fortunately no damage there.
He never missed a beat. Kept it going. Very fortunate. You know, we keep talking about these trucks getting tight, and these guys want to be loose.
And you have to keep watching. We were watching from Todd Cleaver's onboard. You see right up ahead of him. Saw Tracy on the inside of that Terry Cook truck. You see him slip. You see Todd Cleaver try to back off there to keep him running into Ron Hornaday. And you see Tracy Hines start to come up the racetrack. Fortunately didn't. And here come our leader is on pit road.
Todd Bodine brings the field down pit America for the 4th of July weekend. The trucks running in front of a great crowd here at Kansas City. We restart on lap 124.
We always have such a great crowd when we get to Kansas City. They sell this place out. Ron Hornaday has our lead. Todd Bodine, who was leading when the caution flag came out, right now is in the 2nd position. Ron Hornaday, the king of the restarts, got a great one. He's got about 3 truck lengths right now over Todd Bodine. Todd Cleaver being shown in 3rd. I'm sorry, Jack Sprague in 4th.
A lot of 3 wide action right there in 1 and 2. I mean, that was trouble in the making, but it looks like they got through there. Okay, we'll have to keep our eye on it and see what happens. They're still trying to go 3 wide back there.
There's Todd Cleaver right there. Look at this wad of trucks right here. You see Ted Musgrave go by on the outside, bringing Jimmy Spencer's teammate with him.
John Andretti on the inside.
Somebody seizes Mike Skinner up. Mike Skinner had a good run going. He got seized up a little bit by, looked like Steve Park slowed down a little bit in that corner.
Skinner's going to push him on through. I mean, that's trouble brewing right there.
We noticed that Johnny Benson, when they got ready to restart the race, was on the apron of the racetrack, and he made his way down pit road. Wendy, what happened with Johnny Benson?
Unfortunately for Johnny Benson, the right front stud has broken off, and they're going to pull it behind the wall into the garage and fix that right front stud, hoping to get back out there and gain some laps at the end of the race.
What a horrible break for Johnny Benson. There you see Johnny pulling down pit road there. That team had so much promise. It seemed like he was in the top 10 every race he ran that truck last year, and had a great start to the season going, but unfortunately situations like this, he got crashed on the first lap at Dover earlier this year. In situations like this, he blew up. It caused the only caution flag in Milwaukee last week. It's going to just kill him in the points.
The only guy that doesn't need it, that's who it always happens to in racing. It seems like the guy that least can afford it is who it happens to.
Sure seems that way. But what a great break this caution flag was for Bobby Hamilton. Was the next truck to get lapped. And actually, Terry Cook had just gotten lapped by our leader, Todd Bodine. He got the free pass. So both of those trucks back on the lead lap with about 40 laps to go.
And when that caution did come out, Todd Bodine was in front of Ron Hornaday by about 3 or 4 seconds, but Hornaday was not gaining on Todd Bodine, but at the same time wasn't losing ground to Todd Bodine. So now we see those two running up front, where Hornaday is our leader and Todd Bodine running in 2nd, and they're running competitively nose to tail.
Ron Hornaday has clean racetrack right now. There's, you see Bobby Hamilton, trouble right in front of him. Tracy
Hines again having problems in that 13. He comes up the track.
He's having a tough day.
5th caution of the day, 3rd for Tracy Hines.
All in the same corner. If I was Tracy, I would want to take a shortcut around turn number 2. The Toyotas, but we have a Chevrolet leading Ron Hornaday.
Ron Hornaday would love to get his 2nd win of the season and put a little distance between himself and Jack Sprague, who is 2nd in the all-time wins column behind Ron Hornaday. Hornaday with a great start, but Todd Bodine able to stay right with him. They always talk about how good a start Ron Hornaday can get, but Todd Bodine has not fallen off the pace much at all.
He did a good job on that start. He was able to hang with Mr. Restart. That's a good thing there.
You see the 12 of Robert Huffman, that Dayglow orange hooded truck right there. You see Ted Musgrave go by on the outside. That is the battle for the first truck 1 lap down. That's desperately they want to be the first truck 1 lap down, so when the caution flag comes out, if it does, they would get the free pass. They're battling for their life right there, Ted Musgrave and Robert Huffman.
Cautions breed cautions.
Yes, and Ted Musgrave has moved ahead of Robert Huffman, so if it does come out now, Ted Musgrave would get the free pass. And that's just That's uncharacteristic to talk about an Ultra Motorsports team or Ted Musgrave looking to get a free pass. Normally, Ted Musgrave is very strong, running up front, and today he finds himself a lap down.
So he's our third place point man. He's only 44 points out of the lead, so it's very, very uncharacteristic, as you mentioned. But sometimes you hit it, sometimes you don't. I'm sure they've worked on this truck, they've made it better, but he really needs another caution flag to get back on the lead lap.
Another guy that we don't normally talk about being in the back or running with troubles is Ricky Craven. He's currently in 19th. Wendy, what's going on with Ricky?
He's definitely one of our points contenders this year, and he's had trouble today. He was 12th right after that caution, but they had to come back in, which put him back in 19th. He thought he had a tire going flat, but I spoke to John Munsum, his crew chief, and he said all the tires were good, but while they were in, they made a shock adjustment on the right rear.
We saw some of the falling back, and now we see a battle for the top spot. And you see Todd Bodine got loose right there. He was on the inside of Ron Hornaday, got loose, had to check up, almost got into the side of Ron Hornaday.
I don't think I saw him check up any, but let's see if he gets loose. Oh, look at him get loose sideways, completely sideways.
That was a heck of a save.
Well, and there we see why sometimes you just don't run on the inside of trucks when you're going through the corner.
And remember when you lose your momentum, you saw Todd Cleaver drive right by, and look at David Rudem, and he's going to try to do the same thing. Todd says, let me look in the mirror and say, I see David Rudem, and I need to keep him behind me till I get back up to speed.
How about that save by Todd Bodine twice? Not once, but twice.
He is trying to catch his breath right now, I guarantee you. Let me just get settled down.
Well, we saw Mike Skinner do this earlier in the race where he was sideways going through the corner.
Watch Todd Bodine right now. He gets completely sideways. He's got his left front tire right on the apron. Almost loses control, and this is really the second time that he got sideways. He got sideways coming off turn 2, but never backed out of the throttle.
Backed out the first time. He had to back out right there. That was a great save.
Look at that, on board with Todd Cleaver. We saw him get sideways, and now Cleaver sees the opening, goes right by on the outside.
When you can read the door number from behind him, then you know he's sideways.
Problem, Steve Park gets spun around and hits the wall.
Chris Fontaine, the Ford truck, gets by him. You see a lot of damage to the left side of Steve Park's truck.
Our 6th caution of the day, that happening in turns 1 and 2.
Get down to turn number 1. He gets loose, Hank, even really before he gets down in the corner.
That's exactly right. I mean, as soon as he started to pull on that wheel, it looks like that thing just snapped around hard on him.
Again, we've said it time and time again, when you have a truck on the inside of another truck, you're going to lose some air on the spoiler. Chris Fontaine did a great job. Look, he was all the way up at the top of the racetrack, had to turn that truck hard left.
That was close.
Hard left,
very
maintain
close.
Control, and avoid Steve Park. Good job by Chris Fontaine without very much experience. Ray, what's going on down there?
Well, Phil, I just wanted to add the really bad part about Park being in this crash is this is their brand new truck. It's number 4.
Seen them drop back and not be able to seal the deal and get the win. Today could be that day, though, with Todd Bodine and David Rudman running 3rd and 4th.
What's interesting is as strong as Todd Bodine was, and as much of the races he led prior to the caution, a couple cautions ago, he was not able to close the deal on Ron Hornaday. So his truck is aero sensitive to the point where he's not able quite to make the pass that he needed to.
Hornaday just had a problem right there, lost the lead. Todd Cleaver just took the lead, and Todd Bodine's in second.
But the restart, King has a bit of a problem on the restart. Now he finds himself in the 3rd position, and we've got a rookie, Todd Cleaver, leading the race in a Ford.
That is something that we don't see very often. Ron Hornaday having a problem. But as you mentioned, Ford and Toyota now have taken over the top 2 spots. We've talked a lot about the fact, and here we're seeing Todd Bodine go to the high side. I think he learned his lesson. I'm not going to run on the inside of someone if I'm going to pass for the lead.
If I had 2 hands full of steering wheel like the last time I was on the inside, I'd want to go around the outside too. Let's see if he can make it work.
Here he goes to the high side. It's Todd Bodine. Todd Cleaver out in front. That's a lap truck of Robert Huffman. But Todd Bodine not able to seal the deal. And here comes Todd Cleaver back on the inside.
He was pretty loose through that corner. The 50 truck there was. Todd
Cleaver's going to be on the inside. He backs off. He says, hey, I've seen this movie. I've driven there into these corners on the inside of somebody. I see how loose they get. I saw Todd Bodine get so loose. Let me back off here and let me try to pass him another way.
Todd Bodine gets out in front. Robert Huffman, actually, he is still on the lead lap. He's just in front of our leader. Todd Bodine would put him a lap down if he gets by him.
We're not exactly sure what happened to Ron Hornaday. Let's see if we can take a look back at this restart. Here's Todd Cleaver. We're riding with him. Here's Ron Hornaday. You see him take off. He looks like everything's okay, and then he just doesn't go. Looks like he doesn't get into high gear or something like that. Todd Cleaver able just to drive right by him. Let's see if we can take a look up top. Looks like he takes off. They usually take off in second gear pretty well. Then he goes to third gear. Looks like when he went to go to third gear, he couldn't find third gear, whatever. He's back up to speed now. He may have lost third gear, went straight to fourth gear, and that's why he lost so much momentum. He's back up to speed now, but he finds himself in third, about a second, and a little bit over a second behind.
I'm sure his truck was better when it was out front. You know, I mean, you got clean air. And
he liked that clean air. Now he's got a rearview mirror full of David Ruderman, the 17 truck, right behind Ron Hornaday.
That's third and fourth. We're on board with David Ruderman, looking ahead to Ron Hornaday. David Ruderman looking to turn his fortunes around today. They've had some unfortunate incidences take place in the 17 truck this year.
Boy, David Ruderman really closed on Ron Hornaday into the straightaway. It made me think like maybe something's going awry with the motor in the 6 truck of Ron Hornaday. David Ruderman closed so fast at the end of the straightaway.
Well, Ruderman definitely deserves a good finish today. He has driven his heart out. I mean, he's had to fight a lot of adversity. He's doing a great job.
Up to third for the NTN Bearings number 17 of David Ruderman. That puts 2 Toyotas and a Ford in the top 3.
Ron Hornaday has fallen back to the 4th position, and he has lost about a half a dozen truck lengths to the 3rd place truck of David Ruderman.
I like the way Ruderman's truck looks. That thing is really sealed off. You can see when he runs around the track that the left front tire is really up in that wheel well. The nose is sealed off all the way through the corners, and that is really good at a place like this. Aerodynamically, you don't want to give up anything, and they've done their homework.
So David Ruderman now in third, sets his sights on Todd Cleaver, and Todd Bodine out in front. Mike Hillman watching.
Tough break for Jack Sprague. Had a great second place run last week to Milwaukee. Won earlier this year at Texas, but Kraft, we got a report there. You see the smoke.
That's not a good sign ever.
Unfortunately, it's going to be the end of Jack Sprague's day, and he's going to relegate him to a...
Bodine, Todd Cleaver just behind him. David Ruderman, who's struggled with power steering problems early on, back up into the podium position. And so Bodine, Cleaver, and Ruderman are your top 3 as they restart on lap 153.
Another slow restart for Ron Hornaday. Dennis Setzer looked to the outside because Ron Hornaday took off slow. Ron pulled up to block him, and then Mike Skinner drove by on the inside. So Ron Hornaday is definitely having some problems on the restarts.
Hopefully he won't lead to something that'll knock him out of the race. He'll be able to finish this race.
That allowed Mike Skinner to move up into the 4th position. He got by both Dennis Setzer and Ron Hornaday. Let's see if we can take a look back at what happened right at this restart. Remember, that's Ron Hornaday right there, the black truck. You see the restart here. Watch Dennis Setzer.
Hold on. We got a big accident in turn number 4. Truck upside down. Kelly Sutton having some problems. Getting spun around. Excuse me, not upside down, spun around.
She was definitely upside down. You can see the damage to the roof of that. Looks like the 4 truck gets a little sideways. He might have made a slight bit of contact
with the 10 there.
With the 10 of Terry Cook. We see Kelly Sutton probably going to come along here with nowhere to go. You see he made some hard contact with the left front of Chris Fontaine's, and that sent her up into the outside wall, and somehow her truck got upside down. Let's see if we can take another look at it. Watch the 4 truck. Kelly Sutton's going to come along and clip her.
She was out of control a little bit coming in there. You could see that she was just trying to recorrect when she got into that 4.
Yeah, she was sideways. She had lost control coming in. And you can see the radiator leaking there, but you're right, it flipped back over when it hit the apron, and she was lucky to get him in the left front and not in the door there.
Yeah, she's getting out. That's a great sign right there. And the nice thing about these trucks, they're about 8 inches taller than a Busch.
And take another look at this. We saw the 4 of Chris Fontaine get into the wall. That was the smoke in the truck that you saw on the right side. Kaiser pulls the pace truck back down pit road. It is all in the hands of Todd Bodine now in the number 30. He takes off when he gets to the red line that was on the wall. And we're back to racing in Kansas. 10 laps to go.
Ron Hornaday had a horrible start. I think whatever problem he had just really magnified itself, and he got passed by a number of trucks, and he's slow up against the wall. He's almost at the very back of the pack.
Problems continuing for Ron Hornaday, but no problems out front for Todd Bodine. He's put about 2 trucks between himself and Todd Cleaver as they make their way through 3 and 4 for the first time.
Todd Bodine has just what he wants to see right now. Clean air, nobody in front of him, nobody affecting the downforce on his truck. He's just got to watch his mirror, keep that 50 truck of Todd Cleaver behind him.
And that most recent red flag that came out, I just wanted to update you. Chris Fontaine has been checked out and released from the infield care center. Kelly Sutton, on the other hand, they checked her out in the infield care center. They've decided to do some more tests on her, so they sent her to a local hospital to have more tests on her, but we did see her walk to the ambulance after that accident.
4 wide coming down the backstretch.
Got a
Great racing at Kansas.
4-truck breakaway up in the front. The rest of the guys are battling it out.
There they are, 3 wide, making their way through 3 and 4. Out in front still, Todd Bodine, Todd Cleaver, David Rudiman, and Mike Skinner has thrown that number 5 truck into the mix. So we have Toyota, Ford, Toyota, Toyota. They're looking to seal the deal today. One of them will get a victory.
You can see Todd Cleaver is trying to drive deep in the corner. He's gaining on Todd just a little bit on the entry of the corner. He's pushing as hard as he can, but Bodine is able to pull him on the exit of the corner.
And Hank, this is a racetrack that you can overdrive. You can drive in the corner too hard, and you give up whatever you gain going in the corner, you give up coming off the corner.
Well, he's a young guy. He wants it. He's giving it all he's got.
That time by Todd Cleaver was the fastest truck between Todd Bodine and Todd Cleaver. And so Cleaver now making up some ground on Bodine.
Rick, both of those trucks, the Todd Bodine, our leader, and Todd Cleaver, ran their fastest lap of the race that last time by. 160th lap of the race, they've run their fastest laps of the race.
Nothing like a little pressure, huh? You can see him sliding up. He's getting all he can get right now.
Todd Bodine putting some more distance, so it looks like Bodine may have run quicker lap this time. He sure did. 0.2 of a second faster with 6 laps remaining.
And that's a situation where you overdrive the corner. Todd Cleaver overdrove that time, lost 0.2 of a second to Todd Bodine.
Todd is just getting such a good, from the middle of the corner to the exit, he's getting such a good run off.
Problems in turn number 2. That's David Starr in the Spears Manufacturing number 75. That is going to bring out our 9th caution of the day.
He's got damage on both the left and the right side, so he must have made some contact with another truck and then looked like he might have made some slide contact with the outside wall. No caution flag.
The flag has not come out, and so I spoke too early. 5 laps to go, and we do not have a caution for the 75 of David Starr.
And I know Todd Bodine is tickled to death that there's not been a caution flag. He wants this race to stay green the rest of the way.
I'm guessing that Todd Cleaver would also like to see it stay green. He said longer runs are good for him.
Rudiman's dropped back a little bit. He probably wanted to see the caution, get another shot at that deal.
Todd Bodine, Todd Cleaver, David Rudiman, Mike Skinner, and Jimmy Spencer, your top 5.
Bill Lester, another great run going, could equal his career best finish as 6th. He's being shown 6th. Dennis Setzer fought back to a top 10 run scoring. So far he's in 7th. There's Bill Lester. Great battle for the 6th position. There's Bill Lester, the 22 and 6th. And there's the 7th place truck of Dennis Setzer, our point leader, the 46.
And he'll hold on to that point lead as Bobby Hamilton has had a tough day today. He's currently in 14th. Todd Bodine goes across the start-finish line. 3 laps of racing to go.
Todd just needs to be smooth and not make any mistakes right here. You can see he's really on the white line. That truck's been hooked up on the bottom.
Oh, problems. Matt Crafton hitting hard into the wall. You see the damage to the front of that truck.
He had worked his way into a top 10 running position. He was running 8th or 9th the last time, and he's on the inside right there of Ted Musgrave. Looked like he may have been coming up the hill trying to use up the racetrack, maybe even pushing a little bit, made some contact with Ted Musgrave. That turned him in to the outside wall, made some pretty hard contact.
Musgrave was very fortunate not to get any more damage than what he got.
And we saw Matt Crafton when he came to rest here in the infield grass. He did try to start and keep that truck moving and get it off of the infield grass, but the moisture in the area, I think, was too much for him to get any traction, and so he wasn't able to get that truck moving, and now the safety crews are attending to him in the infield.
Let's see if we can take a look at it again. Watch Matt Crafton. He's on the inside of Ted Musgrave. Ted Musgrave's moving way up the racetrack. Matt Crafton looks like he needed to use some more racetrack to try to clear Ted Musgrave. Unfortunately, was not able to clear him. They made contact. It turned Matt right into the outside wall.
Like you said, he was having a good run.
To decide it.
Todd Bodine brings the field to the green flag. We're back underway. 2 laps to go when they cross the start-finish line.
David Rudiman with a great start right there.
Todd Bodine looked like he got off to a good start, but then it looked like he lost a little momentum, but moved back down to the bottom of the racetrack to keep Todd Cleaver behind him.
Todd Cleaver's just getting tight up behind that 30 truck right there. You can see he tried to make a move there and just got tight.
It might cost him second position. Look at David Rudiman on the inside.
Here comes Rudiman. Will Cleaver give up the spot? No, they're going to battle side by side for second. Skinner right behind him in fourth. It is Todd Bodine who will come across the start-finish line. Your leader. 1 lap of racing to go.
Look at David Rudiman. Remember, he's on the inside of the racetrack. Todd Cleaver wants to keep him down there, maybe get him loose.
Mike Skinner, another Toyota, is pushing David Rudiman. Hopefully give him enough air to get down and past him down the backstretch.
Down the backstretch they go. Todd Bodine out in front of the field. Just behind him, Todd Cleaver, David Rudiman, Mike Skinner. As they come out of turns 3 and 4, nobody has anything for Todd Bodine. He will come to the start-finish line, the winner of the O'Reilly Auto Parts 250.
Well, I think Toyota broke their losing streak in style. Todd Bodine first, David Rudiman third, Mike Skinner fourth, and Bill Lester career best fifth. 4 Toyotas in the top 5.
Yep.
Todd Bodine claiming his 3rd career NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series win. And that is his